What is something that personal trainers think is going to be easy, but when they get into the job, they figure out it's not?
Tough question.
Anna, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tarek.
I'm glad to have you here, and thank you for driving all the way from Abu Dhabi. How long did that
Pleasure's
take?
all mine. About an hour and 10 minutes to be precise. It wasn't that bad, to be honest.
Okay, cool. So today I'd like us to cover topics that are interesting for personal trainers. You are one of our top performing trainers, so I'm very glad to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm going to start by asking you a question about your own training.
Okay.
What's your biggest flex as a trainer?
My biggest flex, I tend to fascinate a lot of my clients with pull-ups. So, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
How many do you do?
So far, in one go, the max I've done is 12. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to do 12. Now it's more like 9 or 10.
It just keeps fluctuating, doesn't it?
But I am heavy, though. I'm almost 100 kgs now. So.
Jeez. That's nice, though.
Tell me a little bit about your day. So when we speak about the day in the life of a trainer, where and when does your day start? And how do you plan your schedule? How do you plan your meals? How do you plan, your rest time? Just the normal things.
The planning happens the day before.
Okay.
You need to take a look at your schedule because it's not always the same every day. So you plan for the next day. You might wake up the same time every day, but then you see when do your sessions start. So you get to assign the relevant programs, see when you can catch a break, grab a meal, also where you can fit your workout in, and then what kind of sessions each client will be having. Does one need more time than the other? Okay. And have it planned for the next day before you go to bed, ideally. Because it's very likely that you would wake up to a bunch of text messages with clients who like to reschedule and things like that. So you need to be prepared.
So what time do you wake up?
I think it's between 7 to 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens when you wake up to a text message of a cancellation?
It does catch you off guard, but it is what it is. And you try your best to figure out a way that works both for you and the client, and try and reschedule it and get the number of planned sessions done in a week.
How important do you feel is communication ahead of the scheduled time for training?
Very, 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 very important. One of the most important things, I would say.
Okay, so tell me your thoughts about how do you manage that with your clients? Do you send a message the day before and the day on, or how does it work?
It's usually a message the day before. So if they have any idea of what the schedule looks like for the next day, or if anything's come up, any urgent appointments, so they can let me know beforehand, other than, of course, any last minute emergencies.
Okay. What do you think about the feature of advanced bookings? How does that serve you in terms of managing your schedule and your client's schedule?
It serves us very well, actually, especially for people who are very, what's the word for it? Who are very dedicated to their training plan. People who would like to book ahead for the months too, as we always encourage all of our clients to book ahead. And it really helps us arrange our schedule for the rest of the month, which also allows us to have an idea to when we can take in newer clients, have more trial sessions. So this really allows a lot of flexibility as well.
So the apps allow both the trainer and the clients to book the sessions.
Correct.
I've had a lot of conversations with trainers who just leave the clients to book rather than them booking. Tell me, what are your thoughts around that?
I think that can get a little tricky. Especially for me, in my opinion, it works much better. For example, if you are my client, we sit down and we talk about what days and what time slots work best for you, and to have you booked then and there right away, rather than have you assume when I'm free and when the app shows that I'm free, and have me booked and catch me by surprise as well, because you never know what can be going on in each other's schedules.
So basically, during that sit down, you just lock all the sessions.
Correct.
Then you book them then, and
100%.
then you show them. Do you show them on their app that the sessions are booked?
Exactly. I show them how to use the calendar, tap on it, see the time schedule as well. And of course, if they need any rescheduling, to reach out to me instead of try and make any changes on the application themselves.
Okay. When you do the first session, the assessment session, or like the trial session,
Yeah.
how important it is to manage expectations of the clients in terms of time, results, walk me a little bit through your trial session process and the conversation that happens between you and your clients.
I think we need to find the balance between being realistic and also meeting the expectations, like not get carried away, but we need to know where to draw the line. But also during the trial session, we have a template that we follow, but also we customize it according to the client. For example, their goals can be different, their expectations can be different, though we might provide a very quality trial session. If you don't meet the expectations, it could be a letdown. So we need to find that balance and deliver them the perfect trial session.
It took us a long time to actually create that template for the first session because it's sort of like being on a first date. You want to make sure you want to make sure that showing up on time, for example, if you're late, or showing up without grooming, or very subtle things that could throw the client off, but also the design of the ice breaking, the assessment process of what you do with how do you observe posture, strength, flexibility, mobility, all of these things. But the reality is a lot of clients, all clients are very different from one another. So tell me a little bit about how you customize during that session or the trial session, and what do you observe specifically in order for you to adjust?
For example, let's say we're doing a flexibility check and someone's really restricted, they won't be able to get through half of it. So you find a way to get another exercise done instead of that one. Or some people come to us with the expectation of learning how to use a few machines, which is not part of the trial session. So you try and squeeze in a couple of those exercises just for them to feel better too, and feel like they learned something during the assessment as well. So
I like that. One of the comments I've heard from a lot of trainers is that many people come with an intention. I'm just going to do 2 to 3 sessions, learn about the machines, learn about the gym,
100%.
and, kind of like stop my personal training and then just do that. So do you feel that there's an opportunity with those people to actually turn their minds around and convince them that, hey, even if you learn about all the machines, the value of a personal trainer is not just to show you, it's not a tour of the club,
Exactly.
So how do you shift the mindset of the member?
I think that's part of our responsibility during the trial session. And if you do provide a quality session, it's very likely that we turn them around. There's always room for conversion there. It's just a matter of how you do this tour or how you teach them the machines, because they then understand, no, this is not a thing I can learn in a day or two. It's you take them through it. If that's what you want, here's what it is. And then they have a bunch of other questions. They themselves say, okay, I will not remember this the next day. It's 99% of the time that's the case.
So far we've been covering a lot of functional, topics around the methodology of personal training. Let's speak about the emotional side, because at the end of the day, this is a human interaction where you will get clients talking about anything and everything. And
that's right.
Some people will come and ask random questions about what should I do with my, relationship, or my dog is having issues. So what are some of the questions or some of the cues that you look for in that first trial session to build a human connection with the person that you're about to train?
It's very likely that we tap into these details because we do ask them questions about their sleep patterns, the kind of meals that they have. And I often ask this question, like, do you wake up in the morning and brush your teeth out of motivation? And then it comes to the part of, do you pack your husband's meals and your kids' meals out of motivation? And then it comes to the family. We talk about them, their eating patterns. So you just find that little window to help them understand it's a safe space for them to open up. And everybody has one topic they like talking about. And you make them feel comfortable to talk more about it.
What's one of the most common topics that people like to talk about?
Their eating patterns, their food mostly, and how their partners or their family members contribute to it, or how their influence plays a role in it.
Do you feel that it's good for a trainer to start advising her clients about meal planning and food habits right from the start? Or do you feel that that's something that you need to build with time and with more trust and relationship building?
Once again, I think it's a gradual thing instead of getting really deep into it, because some people are caught off guard and they could get really demotivated if that's the first thing we slam on them. So it should be a very gradual process. On the first day, just give them an idea on what it looks like. And as they continue, we get into more details and numbers and things like that.
Out of the percentages that you currently have in terms of your own clients, how many of them came to you with previous exercise experience or workout experience, and how many of them just didn't know much about the gym?
Very little. I would say definitely less than 50% of them. Majority of them who come with no experience at all.
Do you find it more difficult when they don't have experience, or easier?
I think they're more difficult when they do come with experience, because then they do have a lot of comparisons and questions that come along with it. So there's a lot of trust to build there then.
What are some of the common myths that client think
This is fun.
about, but in reality it's not?
Especially with the ladies, they're very afraid of lifting weights.
Okay.
Assuming they're going to get really bulky.
Okay.
And it's fun to explain to them how difficult it is to get big, or the fact that they need to do lots of crunches and sit-ups to get rid of their belly fat, or the fact that if they train chest, they're going to lose their chest mass and things like that. So those are the very common myths that we deal with.
I've seen a post recently, one guy showing 2 kilograms of muscle versus 2 kilograms of fat. And, I think if people understood the difference between the size, that if actually you replace your fat with your muscles, you're going to shrink and you're never going to bulk.
Exactly. I actually do use this example. I have a screenshot of it and I do show it to my clients. It's like, because if I just say it, they don't believe it and be like, this is this, so this is what I'm talking about. And then they start grasping the idea.
Do you use kind of your own physique as an example to tell people, look, I'm lifting weights all the time and I'm not bulky?
Yeah. Sometimes depends, because some people, they straight up tell me, I don't want to get this bulky. And I'm like, not bulky. I wish. But for some people, some of my clients really look up to me and be like, I want to look like you. And it really helps with them and be like, hey, this is what I do. This is what worked for me. This is what I learned from my experience. So let's give this a shot, kind of thing.
What got you into personal training?
I've always been very physically active in terms of sports and athletics. And, then you move out of high school, you start working and you're like, what's happening to my body? And the next thing is the gym and working out with my friends. Turns out I was really good at teaching them. So I thought, why not learn how to do it better and pursue it as a career? And to be honest, I've had multiple careers in my life and nothing has felt right as much as this has so far.
So speaking about the career, I think a lot of trainers think about personal training as like a side hustle. I'm just going to do it for a couple of years, make some extra money, but it's not really a job.
No.
In our business, as you know, most of the leadership of the business, people who are now running HR departments, marketing departments, started out as trainers and they moved up the ladder.
Yeah.
And, some of them, country managers and very, very top leadership all started out as trainers.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most important thing that trainers need to understand for them to absorb the fact that it's not just a side hustle, it's actually a full-time job and it could turn into a very successful career?
I think we need to accept and understand the fact that we are taking full responsibility of another human being's well-being, and there's a lot of work to that than just counting their reps. It's the programming, it's like you said, the emotional support, it's the regular check-ins on them, connecting them with on a daily basis, and some of them turn out to be your friends even outside the gym. So you do a really good job building relationships then. So if you're a person, you have to be a person who is capable of building these relationships to be a good trainer, because there's a lot more to that than counting reps, like I said.
And what about the earnings? Because a lot of trainers also think that they cannot earn enough. I mean, you're one of our good earners in the business, so that's not your problem. But why do you feel that some trainers just don't get it?
I think it comes down to being honest with yourself, because Enhance particularly gives you the option. Whereas if you put in the work, if you will get results, you will get paid for as hard as you work. So it's as simple as that. So you can lie to yourself all you want, but at the end of the day, that's the truth. You will have bad months, but it's just the way the business is. Just have to get back on your feet again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cyclical business. Nobody trains for 12 months consecutively throughout the year. I mean, there are some people who do that, but
very small percentage.
Yeah, a lot of people just take summer breaks. They take, vacations. They take holidays, and the nature of the business has a cyclical aspect to it. I know that some trainers consider that designing a full-fledged program for every client is a bit of a burden and a bit of a, task. We've tried to make it as easy as possible in the software so
yes,
that,
you have.
people. But explain to me a little bit about designing programs for your clients, and how do you explain the process to your client, and how do you help them visualize that journey?
So basically, yes, the program will depend from person to person, but not a lot either. It's majority of the time it's the same exercises. It's just the intensity or the repetitions. It would depend, and maybe a few modifications depending on the client's challenges or their goals. So it's not that complicated if you look at it. And in terms of how you help the client visualize it, you just tell them, I mean, this is where you're at right now. It's sometimes they get discouraged after a set. It's like, look, it's like everything in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And that's just science. It's just the way it works. We look back at it in 3 to 4 weeks and you'll be doing much better. You do your part, I do mine. Results are a guarantee. And it always works out.
What do you tell trainers who don't do any program design? Like just arrive to the gym and they wing the session, kind of like, oh, this machine is available. Let's do that.
I mean, I would say you're wasting yours and your clients' time. Your clients who've actually invested a lot of money in you and their health, you're just wasting their hard-earned money. I mean, it's one thing to improvise when the gym is busy and you need to find alternatives. It's another thing to totally wing it.
If a client comes to you and says, I want to lose 30 kilograms in 7 weeks, what do you tell them?
I would tell them that they're very hopeful, but no, we will talk about it. I would say 30 kilograms. I mean, it's not impossible, but first I'll ask them like, why this number, especially like, because a lot of people are still obsessive over BMI, and we'll have the conversation and be like, okay, if you do your part, it would take you this much time to lose this, but 7 weeks you could lose some, but not 30. You just find a way to paint that picture for them.
Okay. So unrealistic expectations is something common about people who don't know, the science of human anatomy, and they don't understand, how long it takes for the human body to change and start having better metabolism, having, all these things. Do you feel that it's more relevant to get very scientific with the clients, or do you feel that it's better to actually simplify?
It depends. People who come from the scientific background, like doctors or nurses, some people who understand some of these scientific terms, they get very blown away by our knowledge when we speak to them in terms. For some people, they really don't care. They just want that connection, and they're like, whatever you say, coach, I really don't care. So you just have to find what kind of person your client is.
That's a great answer. It's been coming up over and over again that a lot of people who work in the healthcare industry, so like doctors and nurses, are actually in pretty bad shape, and
I was surprised myself, honestly.
is it just due to long working hours? Is it just due to the fact, because these are the people who should know the most about health?
Exactly. I think I've actually had this conversation with my colleagues because I was that blown away by how out of shape and how unhealthy they are. But I think what you said plays a part too, the long working hours. But I think they get so caught up in their major and their studies and the prescribing part of it that they actually forget about the basics, about how the body works, the human body. Like what we do is basic science, that they actually leave that part behind.
There's a famous cancer surgeon called Peter Attia who left surgery in order to practice preventative medicine because, well, technically preventative workout and methods that help people delay those outcomes, because eventually every person will expire.
Yeah, I assume he saw a lot of things.
Yeah, and like when if it's not the big four, whether it's like cancer or heart issues or neurodegenerative issues or any of the things that people just die, we call it die from old age, but technically one of these things catches up. And diabetes also. I mean, diabetes is pretty big in the region. I mean, this is something that and there's a shift in the mindset of the doctors and everybody that if you actually eat well, exercise, sleep well, make sure that you have recovery every now and then all of these things would just be delayed. So rather than we're not talking about longevity in the unrealistic, I want to live 150 years. I mean, I'm still not there myself in terms of believing all of this stuff, but I think it's becoming a lot more apparent that if you do all the right things, you're going to live well until the age of 80 or 85 or even more. Like you're just going to continue to feel good in your body. You're just going to continue to feel. How many of your clients are aware of these things versus how many of them you need to kind of explain it from scratch?
Most of them are aware of it. I think not just in doctors, I think the whole world is starting to understand it much better and faster than we did before. There are a lot of people turning into fitness now than before. So yeah, majority of my clients are aware, but we do have a few people who sort of treat it like a summer camp. They come in with like, I need 3 months to get in shape and then I just want to be by myself. So like, okay, let's get started. And then you start breaking it down to them nice and easy. You don't want to scare them away, but also you need to give them a reality check. Like, this is what it is. Most of the time they wrap their head around it with time.
Okay, now let's speak about the actual workouts and the exercises. What is the most hated exercise by your clients?
They really hate the assault bike.
Yeah. That and burpees, probably.
Oh, yeah. Anything that involves more cardio.
What is the most loved exercise?
The most loved exercise, let's think about that. I would say they actually do like using free weights. I think maybe it's the idea of it, but they really like it when they finally can balance it and improve on it, like on a shoulder press. Like they feel better about it.
What is the toughest gym equipment?
To set up?
Well, no, to just practice on, to just work out
on. For me to teach
for the clients,
the hip thrust.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because a lot of ladies really want to do it. It's glutes focus, but it's when you start guiding them through the steps to execute it in proper technique, it's a lot of work. You just got to make sure they don't hurt themselves in the meantime.
All right, now I want to shift to the trainers and the mindset of trainers in general. Most people fall into mistakes because either they don't know that they're doing the mistakes or because they know but they don't care. what are some of the most common mistakes that you see trainers doing on the floor?
Quite a bunch of them, actually. Most of them don't correct their client's technique because one, they just want them to complete the number of sets and repetitions, and they let the client proceed with it. But I think that's really dangerous in terms of progressive overload, and like at the end of the day, their safety is in your hands, and I think that's something they need to take more seriously.
Okay. What are some of the more hidden mistakes that, kind of like, because this is a functional one, and I understand that that's a big one, but like, I'm going to give you a silly example, like being on your phone during the session.
That was going to be my next answer, actually. Being on the phone or actually not paying attention to them, while they're, for example, if they're doing walking lunges, just waiting for them to lunge their way down and back, and you just stand here with your arms crossed instead of engaging with them throughout.
Okay. I have a lot of it. But what about when the client is arriving to the gym? What do you expect a trainer? Where do you expect the trainer to be waiting for them? And,
Ideally at the entrance, but it depends. On busy days, we do have back-to-back sessions. So it depends on the gym too. For example, in our setup, we do have the place where we warm up. It's like a given. And that's where we end and finish sessions. So when one goes, we greet the other there. We have that set up, but ideally at the entrance.
Okay. And do you have any tips or tricks of how a trainer should greet their client and which mood they should bring?
Mood should always be good. You should greet them with should be very pleasant and bring in good energy from the beginning. But also it depends on how close you're with the client. Some people would just prefer a high five. Some people come running, giving you a hug. So you need to know your connection with your client.
How do you keep your mood up? Like, because we all go through ups and downs. We all have our problems. And some trainers just end up talking about their problems to the clients. What are your thoughts on that?
It's one thing, I mean, especially if your clients are your friends, it's one thing to do it outside the session. But I think it's another thing letting the client vent to you, because this is their paid hour, right? And you give that space for them instead of. And how do you keep a good mood at the end of the day? For me, like, this is what I wanted to do, and it's my duty to bring in the best energy I could. If not, the client's not going to perform as much. You don't want to make it miserable for them.
How important is the connection between the trainer and their team leader?
Very, very important. To be honest, I don't think I would have this attitude or energy if I didn't have a good relationship with my team leader, and she's amazing at it. So I'll say it over and over again. I love the management here.
And what is the role of a team leader in your eyes
when
it comes to the trainer?
I think it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because you need to care about your trainers. Also, you need to know when to sit them down and put them on a straight line. Also, you need to know about their clients, and you need to know their strengths and weaknesses. So all in all, it's a big role, I believe.
I like the fact that you're mentioning, well, you said put them in line, but in reality, the word is discipline. How important is discipline in this business?
Very, very important. In one aspect, you need to practice what you preach. On another aspect, it's about turning up on time. It's about being there in the gym, not just completing your hours, just meeting as many people as you could and helping your other team members as well. So I believe it's very important for this job.
What do you think about trainers who are not in good shape?
Am I allowed to really voice my opinion here? Like I said, you gotta practice what you preach. You gotta walk the talk. People have to be able to look up to you and be like, this person knows what they're doing. So,
well, a lot of trainers tell you, well, I have back-to-back sessions. I don't have time for my own workout.
Those are the same excuses our clients give us, right? So if you really want to, you can find the time.
Okay, so I want to zoom in on one aspect of this business.
Okay.
You understand your responsibilities, you're disciplined, you show up, you're always there. But in some parts of the year, you're bound to have less active clients than usual, and if you have, I don't know, 6 or 7 active clients, there's no way you're going to do enough sessions to earn enough, commission and to what do you think trainers who go through that cycle should be doing?
I think they need to accept reality as it is, and they really need to ask this question from themselves. Am I doing the best I could this month? If it's a yes, then you need to accept as it is and start planning for the month ahead and see what you could do to improve next month. How many clients do you need to bounce back next month? What are you going to do about it? Speak to your team leader, see how they can help you, and be really involved as you could instead of stepping back and giving up hope.
So how many clients you should be giving trial sessions to, technically, is what you're doing. So if you have like 6 or 7 active and you need an additional 4, 5, 10, whatever it is, then you need to plan your trial sessions as well. You need to make sure that you're always having. What is ideally a good amount of active clients for a trainer to have?
A good amount of active clients, I would say around 15 to have a very productive month. But when it comes to the trial sessions, I think you just need to take as many as you could, because at the end of the day, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you need to take as many as you could.
What do you say to trainers who judge the outcome of the trial session from the first second they see the member, and then they decide or they judge that member's not going to buy personal training?
Don't, because people can really blow your mind. You never know. So really just do your part and do your best, and you can't assume the outcome in this case.
Okay. So you spoke a lot about friends, by the way. Like you said, a lot of these clients have become kind of like your friends.
Yeah.
How often do you hang out with members outside of the gym, and how many of them actually become your friends?
Hang out not as often, because I'm not I'm a very homely person. Okay. But other than that, I do connect with them a lot, and they do share their personal lives with me, and I'm there for them anytime they want to talk. But outside the gym, I mean, we do go for a cup of coffee, maybe for dinner. They know my friends. There are friend circles that have been created. I would say like 3 out of 10 would really get close to you on that level.
How do you define success in your job?
In my job, it's the feeling of you've changed somebody's life. When they come to you with a challenge, I need to fix this. Sometimes it's not even just a physical aspect. And they tell you, like, coach, like, this has really changed in my life, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. And like, nothing can beat that feeling, honestly.
What is something that personal trainers think is going to be easy, but when they get into the job, they figure out it's not?
Tough question. What did I think would be easy? I honestly thought that it would be really easy to, have as many conversions as I possibly imagined. But it does get tricky. You need to really improve your sales and convincing skills along with it, because a lot of personal trainers come with the mindset that the sales part is not my job. But there's no business you can run without it, is there?
I remember I used to have a lot of employees in the past who used to say, "Oh, I hate sales." And I tell them sales is part of every day. If your kid is coming to you and saying, "I want 5 ice cream cones," there's a sale transaction happening there.
Exactly.
You could either accept their request and then they would have sold you their idea, or you could explain that 5 ice cream cones will have 2,000 calories in them.
Exactly.
And that's not really good for you. So what are some of the things that you feel would help trainers understand that the idea of sales is not like, a person holding a duffel bag and selling you life insurance or whatever it is. It's actually a part of the process, and you're not really selling. You're just helping people get healthier.
Exactly. I think it's that idea. A lot of people look away from sales because of it. They feel like it's a manipulation. whereas it's a way of how good are you at making them understand the importance of this, and you need to know your value that you bring into this and why you are worth this. If you don't have that confidence in you, of course it's going to feel like manipulation. So
what about when negotiations start to happen? Let's say, you got a member who wants to become a PT client, and you show them the prices, you show them the subscriptions, you show them whatever, and then they start saying, "Oh, I want to pay half of this, or I want to pay half that, or I want to do what happens then?" Because I know a lot of trainers get frustrated at that point,
of course,
and they just want to walk away.
Yeah.
How do you handle it?
Once again, it's a matter of understanding: does this person really want to train, or are they just really trying their luck with the bargain? If it's somebody who really wants to train, they'll be willing to sit down and talk with you and to see what's the best possible option for them. And your job, I believe, is to allow them to do that, to create that space for them to speak to you, speak to them about their budget, and then you try and find a way to make it work instead of letting your frustration get the best out of the situation.
And what are some of the tips and tricks to let trainers get over that obstacle? So the frustration obstacle of, I don't want to be negotiating, I don't want to be, what are some of the methods that if people go down that route, like give me some sample examples or methods that you use in order to kind of take the conversation into a different direction?
I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with the idea of being in that situation, which is why they run away from it. One thing I need to give props for is our team actually practicing objection handling, because this is very important in any sales job. And secondly, once again, you've had one hour with this person. If you haven't built a connection, then you won't be able to. You will know how to go about this person when you get to this point, unless you're looking to run from it.
What are some of the common objections that come out where you actually know that's not the real reason, but it's just an objection that to kind of like throw you off? Because I feel like a lot of people just don't build that connection in the session, and then the client would just kind of like brush it off by saying, "Oh, I don't have enough money," or what are some of the common objections that you should know it's not the real reason?
It's usually it's just that, oh, I need to go home and think about it, or I need to speak to my spouse or partner about it. That's when you know there's a possibility, but they're not really convinced that this is worth it. So you still have a chance here. You speak to them about, is it the price, or is it the cost? What is it? And it will be really tough if you don't have that relationship. But then you need to have some sales skills to depend on by this point.
So you do encourage trainers to embrace sales as part of the journey.
Yeah, be it whether you're freelancing, be it whether you're working with a company, I think it's really important.
And in the building connection process, in that first trial session, how important it is to learn about people's hobbies?
Very. These are conversation openers, and obviously you're learning about your clients' habits, the activities they do, the activities they don't do, what do they do in their free time. It opens up conversations, but also it gives you a better idea about their lifestyle. So it's very important, I would say.
Okay, so if you are facing a trainer that is getting to her job for the first time ever, like walking to the gym floor, never trained before, comes from a different background. Maybe she was in, retail or hospitality or anything. What would be your advice to that trainer?
Use your customer service skills. You have that, but a lot of people don't. And secondly, I would say be patient. Be patient with people. I'm telling you because I did come from a customer service background before. So that's about it, actually. Also, it would depend if the trainer is fit herself or if she's just stepping into the industry as a whole.
Okay. So be patient. Why do they need to be patient? To walk me through that.
If you are not, you might find some clients really getting on your nerves because they might not really understand what you have to say to them, and they might be in denial and not want to accept the things that you want. So, for example, when I make the math for my clients for their daily protein target, they're like, "No way, I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me. How am I supposed to hear it?" So, it's, if you're just going to be like, "Well, it is what it is," or are you going to joke about it and explain it to them? You have to be patient with them.
Let's talk about sleep and recovery. How do you explain those to your clients, and how do you make them understand the importance of sleep and recovery?
I try and put them in percentages so they understand, because a lot of people have the idea, right, I'm coming to the gym 4 times a week. Why am I not seeing results? I'm like, hey, this is only 20% of the process. Here's what you have to do next. Your nutrition and recovery, these play a certain role as well. And if I sort of put it in a plate, and if one portion of it goes out of it, it's imbalance. I sort of paint them a picture to help them have a better idea. And I would constantly ask them the next day, how was your sleep? How was your meals the day before? Things like that.
Do you feel that people are starting to realize the importance of like cryo or cold ice baths or, sauna or things like this? Or do you feel that that's still early stage?
I think it's still early stage, especially with the ladies. I don't think they're very open to it or considering at all. Chiro, yes. I do have a bunch of clients who go to chiropractors because of their complications. But in terms of saunas and ice baths, I don't think we are quite there yet.
Okay. Very insightful, extremely detailed, and I think the layers of how you understand the business. I wish that we can transcribe. The whole purpose of why we're doing this is to just have these practices being kind of like more known and understand, because I genuinely believe a lot of trainers, I mean, first of all, it's a young population, so like trainers are not necessarily don't come with 10 or 15 years experience. So a lot of the mistakes that happen on the field are because people are not aware of the mistakes. You mentioned like eye contact or keeping, paying attention to your client as they're doing lunges, not just, walking away and then leaving
exactly.
them behind. So some great tips and tricks. I want to move on to the next part of this, which is the rapid fire questions.
Bring it
on. What is your best session time? Morning, midday, or evening?
Evening.
Do you prefer loud gyms with very, high music, or do you prefer quiet?
Moderate, if I could say that.
In the middle.
Yeah. I want my client to hear me.
Have you ever had to spot a client while they're on a phone call?
Yes, wasn't fun.
Dry chicken breasts or protein shakes?
Dry chicken breast.
Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up. What would you tell a trainer who's had a bad month and is thinking about quitting?
Just dust off your shoulders and get back on your feet, because it's going to be that way. Good months, bad months, and we just keep rolling.
How do you implement consistency?
How do I implement habits?
What are some of these habits?
The time that you go to bed, the time that you wake up, your discipline with the meals, and then they become habits instead of treating them like, a burden.
This has been an awesome session.
Thank you.
I love it. Very precise, very sharp, and very witty as well.
Thank you.
So no wonder why you're one of our top performing trainers.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm flattered. Thank you, Tariq.
I like this episode, and I'm really confident that a lot of the trainers will have a lot to learn from it. So thank you for being here.
I'd like to think so too. Pleasure was all mine. Thank you for your time.
All right.